My guest today is Alexander Milovanov, and he is a new author. We haven't had him before, and his work is unique in many ways because we have been talking about the previous epoch, and we've had Chris Dunn talk about his work in reverse engineering the Great Pyramid. We've had a number of other scientists who are looking into the artifacts that are left to us and how they can lead and help us understand that the previous civilization used their minds, had consciousness that was much more on a higher level than what we use today. And one of the things I found was unique about Chris Dunn's analysis is the fact that he believed that the previous epoch, the scientists were what he called planetary Earth scientists, and there's not nuclear energy involved. There's not any kind of poisonous, toxic waste. It was all generated from the earth in his assessment. The book we're talking about today is called The Music of the Divine Spheres, The Rediscovery of Ancient Knowledge of Human Consciousness, Sacred Geometry, and the Egyptian Pyramids That Can Change Your Life. So we're going to get an understanding of what we are focused on today. So Alex, welcome to Earth Ancients. Great to have you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us, what was your inspiration for writing this book? Were you traveling in Egypt? Were you in Cairo? Were you doing, and we should mention that you're a physicist and also a mathematician, but were you doing research on consciousness and developed a hypothesis on the previous cultures' levels of consciousness?
I will say that the knowledge I found is not hypothesis; it's real, authentic knowledge. So this is the first. But I'm a scientist, an engineer, and spiritual explorer. So my worldview was formed by under influence of the knowledge I received from famous spiritual teachers, such as Nikolai Levashov, Drunvala Melchizedek, Chereji, Boris Zolotov, and others. So the experience I had from attending and conducting spiritual seminars, as well as the teachings of Thoth or Hermes Trismegistus, directed my attention to the study of human consciousness. So for more than 20 years, I've been conducting research in the area of consciousness. And during this research, I discovered knowledge that proves that ancient civilizations, compared to us, had a more correct and much deeper understanding of the world. And almost all ancient knowledge was lost by humanity millennia ago. The knowledge I managed to find is so important to humanity, so I couldn't keep it a secret. So as a result, 2 books have appeared, The Music of the Divine Spheres and The Civilization of Lost Connection. In 2023, The Music of the Divine Spheres was translated into English and published by John Hunt Publishing. So this book has been created with a dual purpose: unveiling authentic knowledge to contribute to a better world for all, and assisting individuals in fulfilling their incarnation's primary task, so developing consciousness. This will make their life happier and more fulfilling.
So it's funny you just said that you're here, your incarnation at this time is to help people reconnect with this ancient wisdom. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, this is a part of my mission, I believe.
Yeah, I love that. Talk about your connecting with this ancient knowledge, because in a minute we're going to talk about the different levels that you have uncovered. But what was it that led you to believe that our ancestors had a different level or a higher level of consciousness?
Currently, humanity has forgotten what consciousness is. That's very sad. So, but ancient civilizations have a much better understanding of consciousness structure and how to develop it correctly, how to accelerate its evolutionary development. So I got from the masters I just mentioned another part of the knowledge came from ancient civilizations. So this is like a combination of the knowledge I get from different sources.
Mhm.
And another parts of the mosaic of the true picture of the world were obtained by me in the course of my research. So when I connected all these parts together, the true picture of the world opened up to me. So this picture is entirely different from the one that people built in their imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But some might say, so there is so much different knowledge around, one more, one less, who cares? However, here we are dealing with a completely different case. The problem is that people on this planet know next to nothing about the real world. They think they know, but what they know is only an imitation of knowledge, consisting mostly of misconceptions, erroneous dogmas, and delusions. Their knowledge has nothing to do with the real world.
As a spiritual seeker, you were seeking the higher levels, and what was the trigger? I mean, you're reading these certain masters who are writing about the previous epoch, but was there something that you were researching that led you to, as an example, develop this theory of the spheres, the consciousness of spheres and things like that? Where did that information come from?
Came from Tos, or Hermes Trismegistus. The first tip I got from him, he said that one is not really one, but the square root of one. And he also mentioned that our consciousness is related somehow to the spheres. Who read the Drunvala's books, those probably remember that Drunvala tried to describe the consciousness by making circles on the paper. But this was the tip. When I started experimenting with this knowledge I get from Hermes Trismegistus or Tos, I found the key finally. And this key was the amazing laws of nature, describing the most optimal structure created by the nature. And in accordance with the structure, our consciousness is built. So I discovered the structure, and later I found a confirmation from other knowledge I received from Nikolai Levashov, for example. He described our universe consisting only of 7 types of matter. And this type of matter are used to make our bodies. So our body constructed of 7 types of matter. And when when we develop the 9 bodies, then we will finish our evolutionary cycles of our development of our consciousness on this planet. So this planetary cycle is finished, and we start to, and we go to next level, to universe level. Mm. So in this stage, we have ability to choose any planet in this universe to continue our evolution, and choose any place.
Talk about these levels of minerals in the body. Is that how it's always been, or are we evolving to higher levels?
We have several different types of body. That what you're talking is just physical body.
Oh, different levels of
yeah, but also we have a ether body, and we have 2 astral bodies, and we have 4 mental bodies. So when we have all these bodies constructed, then we finish our evolutionary cycle on this planet. An average person on this planet has only 5 to 6 bodies. So our goal is to develop missing 3 or 4 bodies, and then we have when we get new abilities, such as we have a power to control the forces of nature, and if we have 9 bodies, and we have, as I said, a choice of planet for next incarnation, for next evolution. So unfortunately, like in Indian teachings, like yoga, they have a final goal to get the 9 bodies. But our evolution doesn't stop there. it's just a final goal on this planet. Then we have opportunity to go further. And this actually described by the symbol of the tree of life.
Yeah, I know the tree of life. We'll talk about that in a minute. So 9 different bodies. Is this something that our ancestors knew about, or is this new knowledge? Or are you suggesting that our ancestors actually were able to work with the 9 bodies?
I don't think all ancestors knew that, but some of them, especially highest priest of ancient Egypt, they knew that. They have this knowledge. Example, a select group of initiated priests grasped comprehensive knowledge. For the general public, this knowledge was encoded within myths and legends, many enshrined in ancient religious texts. Moreover, I could say that foundational ideas in various belief systems and religions, including Christianity, were directly drawn from ancient Egyptian teachings. I will give you an example. Familiar is a biblical narrative from Genesis detailing 6 days creation story. However, a more profound interpretation reveals it illustrates the process of crafting consciousness by spirit within all living entities, including humans. And this process is described in the book, The Music of the Divine Spheres. It actually related to ancient Egyptian teachings.
Okay. Let's talk about levels of consciousness. You write early in your book that we use approximately 3 to 5% of our brain. And you talk about the different levels of consciousness, lower levels and upper levels. Are we currently using just the lower level of consciousness?
Yes, our informational environment forces us to live in the lower levels of our consciousness, which is close to our animal levels. That's responsible for survival. You may notice by watching the news and movies, etc. But ancient Egyptians knew that if you stay long in these levels, then your consciousness may degrade. So they have special technique to bring people in the higher levels of consciousness, where people could able to feel like joy, love, and other higher feelings.
So how did they access that? Through meditation? Were they placed in certain harmonic rooms that shifted the brain's consciousness? How did they achieve the higher levels of consciousness?
They have several different techniques depending on the school they used. So they use first they use information, like just to give people right information that build the right belief system. This is the main things. Just erase delusions, erase misconceptions, and fill these empty spaces by right information. So this create right belief systems, right worldview for the people. This is the main condition. Second, they use special techniques, for example, sound vibrations, special rooms, and help of the masters to move the consciousness on the higher level and force them to stimulate them jump to higher levels of possible. Our consciousness, as I mentioned in the book, our consciousness has several different levels. It's not like same like our chakra. Actually, the chakras, they connected with different type of our bodies. Mm-hmm. So we have several chakras, and these chakras connected to several different type of our bodies, and the bodies connected with several different levels of consciousness. So each body correspond to specific level of our consciousness. And so we can jump from one level to another level, not even, but like discretely. So, and they have this, the ancient Egyptian priests, they had a technique. Some of them Drunvalo described in his book, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. And actually it was lifelong process. It's not like we cannot go to the school and in the first class we can jump our consciousness to high level.
Yeah,
It takes
exactly.
time.
Yeah. Was this something that was only provided to select members of society, or was everyone able to access these special high frequency rooms that raised consciousness?
What kind of society you mean?
The Egyptians.
Egyptian?
Yeah. Did everybody get access to this information?
No, as I said, in ancient Egypt, for example, only select group of initiated priests grasped comprehensive knowledge, and they keep it in a secret from general public because if this knowledge is got to the wrong hands, it can create additional problems. So they have they have special tests for the people they select. Sometimes it's very difficult tests to check their level in their responsibilities. So this test and people can lose their life if they fail the test. But it was necessarily conditioned because they selected people to place them in power. So such a people could first doesn't have ego and have a high level of responsibility for other people.
Right.
This means high level of consciousness. So they had special tests to define the level of consciousness of each particular person.
So this was a select group of individuals, and you're saying that the shift to consciousness, the higher levels of consciousness, was very strong and could be dangerous if someone was not prepared ahead of time. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Now the problem is not the problem is universal law is the people responsible for control of society should have the highest level of consciousness possible. This means this is natural law. Now everything is upside down, but originally they have to have very high level of consciousness, and they have this should be very responsible persons. They have to think about others.
Right.
They have to have knowledge of the laws of nature because they have to know if they do any actions, what will be results of this action.
I want you to describe what these higher levels of consciousness are. If the lower levels are very animalistic, survival, just a 9 to 5 existence, which is what we are living in right now. What was the higher levels? Was it tapping the Akashic records, the cloud database? Was it working with other consciousness and bringing information in to a physical realm? Talk a little bit about what these higher levels are.
Let's talk about our planetary levels of consciousness. Higher level of consciousness here means that people think more about other peoples, about societies, and about themselves. So this means that people kill their ego. They took control under their animal nature, let's say. So when people reach this level, so they can control their feelings, they can control information they receive from outside world. So they don't have so much influence of emotions. So and the level information they receive also is higher than for regular person because such a people who has higher levels of consciousness, they connected very tight with their spirits, their higher self, and the level and amount of information they receive from that level is much higher than we have here, than our intellect operates.
So you're saying that these higher levels of consciousness connected with the soul level and perhaps earlier lifetimes or other consciousnesses, or is it everything?
Absolute or universal database doesn't exist in reality.
Hmm.
So if they had connection, probably this connection were with various different entities, like channeling, but not with database.
Oh, channeling. Okay. I guess my question to you is if this previous epoch was using this higher level of consciousness and bringing through buildings like the Great Cheops Pyramid, the various temples in Egypt that are extremely sophisticated, and other buildings, where did that knowledge come from? Was it just a development of eons of research, or was this higher level of consciousness helping with this technology?
It's depending on which kind of knowledge, it may belong to even more ancient civilizations that survive from Atlantis and Lemuria, or it can be developed by ancient Egyptian priests, for example. Thought says that it took 10,000 years for Egyptians to understand that one is not one, but a square root of one. So it took a long time even for them to figure out what consciousness is and how you can use these laws to develop and accelerate development of your own consciousness.
Yeah. Do you believe that thought was a actual human being, or was he just consciousness?
No, he was actually a human being. He has several. I don't know. Probably he had several incarnations because thoughts, for example, also known as Hermes Trismegistus in another incarnation, but it was the same spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. All right, well, talk about the higher levels. You talk about instruments to access higher levels. What kind of instruments have you discovered, or are these instruments that you've developed?
I found that the sound composed of tones selected in certain proportions resonates with our consciousness and generates certain feelings in us. Moreover, such a sound produces a healing effect. As I realized, it's 100% positive. And the same applies to light. In other words, I managed to find a new musical scale and color scale that resonates with our consciousness. This is a new discovery. So how I came up with this, when I tuned 4 different musical instruments in tones in the proportions of the spheres of consciousness, corresponding to the structure I found and described in my books, and conducted experiments with them, I found that the sound not only activates the consciousness, but also has a healing effect.
Wow. Talk about the law of spheres, because that's a big theme in your book. What is the law of spheres?
The laws of spheres describe the structure of our consciousness. And in 2 words, I can say that the structure is composed of the spheres of equal diameter. And the spheres interconnected into the most optimal clusters with kind of membranes between them. And this cluster can grow infinitely, but the main law remains the same. All distances between centers of all these spheres is equal to square root of whole numbers. This is amazing law, and the structure is the most optimal and most sustainable to influence from outside world. So the structure can be seen also in our life. For example, when cells of zygote is multiplying, they get together in the most optimal clusters of cells.
Mm-hmm. So talk about how the sphere dynamic increases our ability to connect with the higher realms. Is it because the frequency that we hear shifts our consciousness, or what? How does it work?
When spheres accumulated into one cluster, the more spheres added to cluster, then more levels or distances between spheres appears in the cluster. Each distance corresponds to a certain level of consciousness. So when more spheres added, more level of consciousness is appear in our consciousness. But another most important question is how we accumulate these spheres. So these spheres accumulated during our experience and our action. And what I knew from Nikolai Levashov, for example, the only condition we grow our consciousness is practical actions to make this world a better place. So when you do practical actions, you got experience and knowledge accumulated in the spheres and moving it to the next level.
So you trigger these activation of spheres when you're doing positive things?
Yes, exactly.
Give us an example. I mean, would that be helping somebody, or would it be just having happy thoughts, or what?
Yeah, it's actually it cannot be said like in one answer, because I need to give you more information how it works and what mean positive actions. So this is only actions corresponding to the laws of spheres. For example, don't do the things to others if which you don't have others doing for you. This is like approximately we can say how it works. So when you acting and when you make the world better, you become you understand more and more of laws of nature. And when you understand these laws, this experience accumulated in your spheres, and they push on creation of the new spheres. This means creation of new levels of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. So,
because when you're doing wrong things, for example, or against the laws of nature, your consciousness may degrade. You can lose evolutionary potential that you developed in previous lives.
Oh, interesting. That's kind of funny. Talk about, because you have a whole chapter on this musical scale. Do you sit there and listen to the music to grow your consciousness, or do you have to play an instrument? How does the music affect the brain?
The musical instrument I created, they only activate the consciousness. They not develop new levels of consciousness. New levels of consciousness is your responsibility during your experience in your actions. But this musical instrument, they develop to activate the highest levels of consciousness you already have. So they just help you to wake up, to make connection with your higher self. That's the main purpose of this instrument. And there is two types of instrument. One is designed for activation of the consciousness, and another one is designed to wake up your spirit. For example, sometimes your spirit can trap into like inactivity or lazy state or depression or something. So this instrument help your spirit to remember its main goal in this universe and wake up your spirit. And this has the consequences for you. It affects you on the material level as well, but little bit later.
Is there any time or period of music that we're aware of, say the Romantic period or the classical Rococo or whatever, that produce music that is beneficial? Like, in other words, say Mozart or Beethoven or one of the great Romantic musicians played certain types of music that we know activate parts of the brain. Are you aware of any current music, or is it a unique developed music that you're referring to?
Of course, this music exists, which exists now. It's has is necessary. It produces very positive effect on the society. But we're talking not about the music because if you take any specific piece like by Mozart or other composer, it's influenced by this particular person who puts his feelings and his knowledge in this piece. Of course, it's produced positive effect. But here we're talking about the musical scale, about the proportions between tones. And what I figure out that existing musical scale, Western musical scale we use today, is designed to push people down to earth. But the musical scale I found during my experiment, it's produced opposite effect to moving people up to heaven, to higher self.
We're going to take a short commercial break to allow our sponsors to identify themselves, and we will return shortly with my guest today, Alexander Milovanov, discussing his latest book, The Music of the Divine Spheres. We'll be right back.
When you or your child are sick or hurt, Hoag Urgent Care makes it easy to get the best care when and where you need it. 7 days a week, Hoag Urgent Care treats most illnesses and injuries at their 16 Orange County locations,
including their 3 newest urgent cares in Trabuco Canyon, Dana Point, and Costa Mesa. You can even set up a video visit.
Plus, choosing Hoag Urgent Care means access to expedited follow-up with world-class Hoag specialists. And you can even save time. Go online to check wait times and reserve a spot at HoagUrgentCare.com. So feel better faster at HoagUrgentCare.com.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
My guest today is Alexander Milovanov, who has written a book about harmonics, music, sounds, and how our ancestors, an early epoch of civilizations, used harmonics sound through musical instruments and unknown machinery to raise consciousness, clarity, and the ability to think on higher levels. So in your experiments with this musical scale, did you use brain measuring devices to measure the frequencies of the brain with the music, or how did you test the effects?
No, this only things is important in this musical scale is proportions between tones. You can, for example, you have a sequence of tones and you have the bass frequency that you can change. You can choose any bass frequency, but other frequency in this sequence will be calculated based on specific proportions. So if you have bass tone, you can calculate and get the whole sequence of the tones in this musical scale. I found that our traditional frequency of 432 hertz sounds very good and produce better feelings than, for example, traditional Western frequency of 440 hertz.
So does this play any part on the Schumann's resonance where we know about?
It's nothing to do with Schumann resonance. It's only frequency related to our planet. So here we're talking about the structure of consciousness. It's a little bit different, I think.
Okay, but give us an example of how this frequency of sound is affecting the physiology of the initiative, the person sitting in there.
It works on spiritual level. What I realized during my experiment with volunteers who actually didn't know about any spheres or consciousness, etc. I just asked them to listen to music tones and describe their feelings. And all of them described that experienced very pleasant feelings. And later I realized it's also produce a healing effect. So how this works, how the sound works, it's when our spirit hears this sound, listen to this sound, it's immediately, like in fraction of second, understand the proportions between sounds, between tones, and associate these proportions with the structure of consciousness it has. So when it realized these two things match each other, it activate, it wake up. For example, it sees something new that it didn't see a long time, and it has very positive feedback for our physical body later. So it's like your spirit is trying to award you for the experience it got from you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if people had some kind of diseases or something, they feel relaxed after that release.
So this does have a healing property to it as well, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but I didn't discover specifically healing effect. I didn't get much experiment, but I realized that this effect is present.
Now, does the person listening to this music have to have headphones on, be in a dark room? Does there have to be a certain environment for them to receive the best?
Not at all. Not at all. You can do any environment. You can use any environment. You can hear in the office, in home, in dark room or light room, or in the street, or in the garden. Actually, I have the wind chimes in my patio right now. It harmonizes the space around our house, and so it doesn't matter. But I realized that's a better effect when people play this instrument themselves, based on their feelings. They how to say, their specific need for specific frequencies or timing. So this produces better effect.
So they're playing this instrument, which looks like a kind of a guitar, right?
No, it's actually wind chime and
wind chime.
Wind chime, right. And the other instrument I have, it's looks like harp, like ancient instrument with strings. It has the same effect.
So the wind chime can be a random sound, though, right? Because as the wind's hitting it,
yes.
So that's what you want, a random sound.
Yes. Or you can play yourself, choosing your own sequence of tones. It doesn't matter. What's important in this instrument is the proportions between tones, which is immediately recognized by our spirit.
Yeah, in your book, you describe how the sound activates a greater quantity of the brain. And have you tested that to see, have you used any kind of equipment to test the activity of the brain following this sound therapy?
No, as I said, I didn't go so deep. I didn't test the brain frequencies. I didn't test healing on specific diseases. I didn't do some much like this. It was not my goal. Maybe it's like topic for the future work, or somebody else may test it.
You're going to leave your paperwork for somebody else
Yeah,
to work on.
yeah. I had another task. I had my mission was to discover this knowledge and bring this to people.
So, I mean, you mentioned the people that were receiving this therapy were feeling better and had more positive experience. But over time, what are you suggesting the effects are going to be?
I think it's produce harmonizing effect on environment where you have this sound, and on people, all people who listen to this sound. It's like a harmonizer. It works like harmonizer.
So it's going to harmonize your
which works on spiritual level, not on our physical level.
Okay. Yeah, I'd really like to see the results of somebody who has, say, 10 sessions of this sound frequency to see how they're changing.
Yeah, me too. It's maybe the term for further work. And the most important things, things I would like to listen to is if somebody will write music in this new musical scale, because it will be very interesting to listen to entire piece, because nobody's wrote yet such a thing, because completely different musical scale. It's not correspond to existing musical scale. And when I tried to ask musicians about this musical scale, they were little bit confused because their brain was standard musical scale, and when they see different scale, their brain probably need to take some time to readapt to new sounds. But I'm pretty sure that if somebody will write nice sound, like specific musical pieces that sounds good for our soul, the effect will be much higher than just a random sound.
So is it, how many notes are in the musical scale? Is it like
the same amount of notes, the same 13 notes. So we have the same octave, that the highest frequency 2 times higher than the lowest frequency. But the proportions between tones inside the musical scale, inside the octave.
The length of each note, you mean?
Yeah, not length, the proportions between frequencies of each tone will be different.
So you're suggesting that someone would write some music and like some of the notation, some of the notes would be longer, some shorter?
No, that it will be composed of tones. They have different frequency compared to existing
tones, high and low frequency tones.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, this is something different. It doesn't sound like music in the classic sense, though.
Yes, what I'm talking about. This it will be completely new music. I name it like music of the divine spheres, like music of heavens.
Do you have any recordings?
I have
because I'd love to be able to play that for people so they get a sense of this new brain frequency.
Yes, one can hear examples of this sound on the Spheres of Consciousness YouTube channel or on my website, which will be available in a few weeks, as I said.
Spheres of Consciousness on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I think the other thing that's really critical at this time is to measure people's brain activity following one of these sessions.
Yes. However, the recorded sound, what I realize is recorded sound doesn't allow you to convey the whole spectrum of the sound generated by those instruments. For the full effect, you need to listen to a live instrument. But this is the limitation of digital recording.
Tell me exactly how a wind chime would be able to create this sound. I mean, that's like nature. That's like a nature instrument, because a wind chime is random. There's no guided written musical. It's just like one part of the wind chime is being hit with wind and making a sound, and another part is hit. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. Of course, the piece of music would sound much better, but in this case, the most important thing, it's not the music itself, but the combination of tones, the proportions between frequency it generates. So our spirit realizes the proportions between these tones, between frequencies of this sound, and it immediately recognizes what it is.
So you're suggesting that this is kind of like the music of the spheres, right?
Yes.
And this is critical because this is how we become the highest evolved species on the planet.
Yes, exactly.
And what can we expect by using, say, this frequency for a month every other day or something?
I didn't conduct the comprehensive experiments like taking long timing and discovery thousands of people. But what I get just confirmed that the knowledge came from ancient civilizations. This is proportions of the sound can be used to activate our consciousness. And as another things, they generate a healing effect. But the most important is the activation of our consciousness. And ancient civilization, ancient Egyptian priests use sound to activate the consciousness, higher levels of consciousness. And sometimes they use it like stimulator for jumping when your consciousness already almost ready to jump to next level. The sound can stimulate it in this this evolution of your consciousness.
Let's use a hardware software analogy. So it sounds like the sound is software that integrates with us, the hardware, and it is really the best or the most. It's the way to go for our evolution. It's the way to accelerate evolution, accelerate our species through a form of evolution. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, but our structure is much more complex than just hardware and software example, because we are integrated system of 7 types of matter and different bodies, and our spirit and our physical body. So it's very complex combination, whereas each part affect other parts. But the difference is on the spiritual level, the time is going with different speed. So the higher level of matter, then the lower time in that level. And from another side, if something will change in the higher level, it will definitely affect our physical level, but little bit later.
Can you theorize what this music did to these people? Was it creating were they turned into geniuses? Were they turned into very harmonious beings that were synced to the earth, to the other levels of consciousness? Talk about what you believe was the end result of this kind of therapy.
Different people react differently on this experience. I have some testimonies in the book describing some experience of some particular persons, but it depends on the level of consciousness of specific person, and their background, the knowledge they have, and their connection with their spirit. Some people experience something on energy level, like moving energy from chakra to chakra, who is familiar with this kind of things. Other people experience just joy, pleasant sound that they can hear limitless, because usually when you hear sound, sometimes sound at some point is become annoying to you, but not in this case. So they can hear this sound infinitely, because it's in harmony with their body, their spirit, with nature.
Alexander Milovanov, the book is The Music of the Divine Spheres. What would you like to see? How would you like to see this applied? Because if what you're saying is true, and this is a new way to evolve our species, we're not in a situation where only the hand-selected few receive this information. It would be much more beneficial if greater groups of people, or pre-college students or kids or everybody, could use it. How do we integrate this?
I started experimenting with wind chime because my goal was to create a simple and affordable instrument for everybody that everybody can put in their room and their class and on the garden or everywhere, and have an instrument that will harmonize their life and their spirit. If we talk on the highest level, how it can be applied, so the best way I see is to creation of a temple. It's not religious temple, but temple of nature, I can say, where you can combine the advantages of sound, light, people voices like chorus, and high-level instruments like organ or other instrument, to bring people who came in this temple into highest spiritual state as possible. So when I believe that, and I know it's will work this way. So if you come to this kind of temple and listen the sound, you see colors that resonates with your consciousness. You hear voices, and you have knowledge, right knowledge that come from nature itself, but not from somebody intellect, not developed by people, but developed by nature itself. So all these environments will stimulate you and put you in your highest state as possible. And I think people will come again and again in such a place, because it's amazing experience which our soul desire.
It probably feels really good too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you aware of any temples that have been uncovered in, say, Egypt or Mesopotamia, China, wherever, that have the potential, or who may have been a frequency temple like you're suggesting?
No, I don't know any. Probably they don't exist. Some of them use sound, for example, like church use bells, but bells is not belongs to church. Bells belongs to ancient civilizations, even not to this planet. It belongs to universe, and they generate sound who harmonize people, harmonize consciousness, and by the way, the scientists discovered that they kill harmful bacteria and viruses, so it's have positive effect. But nobody uses like comprehensive knowledge for this purpose. And my hope is in the future, people will build something like that, the temples that combine all this knowledge, sound, light, and teachings and knowledge that came from nature to contribute in the right belief system and development of raising consciousness, not only single person, but entire society.
Alex, do you sell your wind chimes? Are they available for purchase?
Not yet. I tried to find a manufacturer for them, but unsuccessfully so far. But my plan is still, I'm still working on this.
And I just want to ask you one more time. So you put a wind chime up. It's made for outside. It's not made for inside, right? It's made.
No, you can use it inside as well. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but it has to have air current to make it work, right?
Not necessarily. As I said, it's produce even better effect if a person plays himself.
So does it bang against each portions of the chime? That's how it happens. It ricochets or bounces off the different portions of the wind chime.
Yeah. You can play intuitively how your soul desire to listen this sound. So you can select the tones or specific timing. You can play fast. You can play smooth. You can play whatever you want. How it's a better. How your spirit feels better for in your case.
I would love someone to do some studies on the.
I have several samples, so if somebody will conduct study, I can give the samples.
Okay, fantastic. The book, The Music of the Divine Spheres, it just came out. You can get it on Amazon. Alex just told me he doesn't have a website yet, but he is developing one. What's the web address of your new website?
milovanovbooks.com.
Okay, and I'll put that up. You can see it under the notes. And I have some photographs here in the book that I'll post, but do you have any photos you can send me of the wind chime?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, then I'll put that up and maybe list a few of the effects. So, wow. If this is really working, which sounds like it does, this could really help us with an evolutionary leap, couldn't it?
Yeah, this is what the purpose of this knowledge.
Yeah,
to help people in their evolutionary development.
Yeah. As we close, Alex, what's your hope that people get from reading the book? What's your best wish?
My sincere hope is that this knowledge becomes a transformative force for individuals in their spiritual journey. It's designed to offer insight that goes beyond the pages of the book and providing practical guidance for personal and spiritual growth.
Fantastic. Hey, much success, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk today.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
I got Alex to send me a number of photographs of these wind chimes and the musical instrument. To me, it looks like a harp. I don't know why he doesn't consider it a harp. I thought it was, when I first saw the illustration, I thought it was it looked like kind of a guitar. But apparently it's different, and it's strung in a different manner, a unique manner that allows for the sounds to vibrate longer. And I'm very, very curious about this wind chime. And because it's total random sounds. And apparently the little testing he's done using these wind chimes has been fairly profound. And he's in Los Angeles, and I don't know, we have a little bit of a communication issue. I don't know why needing to do some more testing, because if this is truly able to help people move to a higher level of cognition, there's no manner of treatment that this could be used for. I mean, you could use it for people with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with cognitive problems, and on the brighter side, remember he's all about looking for these higher levels of cognition. Wow, that would be a real brain tuner. And that's what I was thinking of when he was talking about these this music scale. I thought that it would be a great brain tuner product. And when I say brain tuner, and I've mentioned this before, in the 1990s when they started launching these, you put headphones on, put a tape in, cassette player, or a CD, later it became a CD, and it would have sounds and frequencies that they tested people with, and it allowed for deep relaxation. People who had insomnia were helped with it. I don't know. I'm sure there was some science testing behind it, but I think, it wasn't as widely accepted because the AMA doesn't like that. They rather drug you with a medicine, with a powerful stimulant to knock you out. Remember, the drug companies are all about having their place in the world. We're talking about Western culture. So anyhow, this was fascinating for me. English is a second language to Alexander, and he did the best he can in presenting this to us. But there's a lot of questions I still have. And obviously the goal of this interview was to have him tell us what these frequencies are, where he got this data, and what instruments, is what he calls them, have come out of his research. So the wind chimes, the string instrument, and the other thing I'm going to do, by the way, I'm going to post these photographs on the Facebook page. So go to Facebook, and you'll see them under Earth Ancients. I'm also going to find this bit of test music that he has on his website, which isn't out, by the way, but he sent me a link to a test page. And I'll post it, and I'll make an announcement that people can use it. I'm really curious, because I've used these brain tuners before. They don't seem to affect me because I've been meditating a long, long time. But somebody who has not done any form of meditation, has not been able to calm their brain and relax in a theta wave kind of a setting, which is kind of like a deep rest, deep sleep, might get benefit from this. So anyhow, that was an interesting interview. I'm going to follow up with him and see what else comes around. And if he can get more testing done, we might have something really to consider. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hey, Earth Ancients does tours every year. At the beginning of this program, I mentioned the Grand Egyptian Tour, April 28th, May 9th in Cairo. We're almost full. We only take about 25 maximum, but sometimes we take more. We like to ride with one bus, and Mohammed Ibrahim of Saba Tours is our host, and he has this wonderful bus that we travel in luxury, in comfort. I mean, people sleep, relax. We got two refrigerators with drinks and refreshments and little snacks and stuff. It's really, really fun. What's really amazing about this tour is he regularly selects and works out arrangements so we do these private tours, including some of the biggest places in the world, like the Khufu Pyramid, that's a tourist trap. It really is. But we go right after all the tourists are cleared out, and we get there right about 5 o'clock, and we go in by ourselves. There's nobody there. It's the most amazing thing you can imagine. You can go to the King's Chamber, you can go to the Queen's Chamber. If you're really daring, you can go down into the subterranean tunnel and see what they believe was some kind of a pump. There's evidence of huge water erosion. So there was water pumped into that shaft area and then brought up into these different rooms. Amazing tour, and we'd like to see you if you can join us, for either spring break, a vacation, or just to see the world's most amazing artifacts and ruins. For more info and the full itinerary, go to earthagents.com/tours. We lay it all out for you, and a fun and rewarding tour. I'm going to mention 2 other tours that are coming up. We have Turkey, which is going to be 12 days. We meet in Istanbul. That's August 12th through the 24th. That's almost full. I think we only have a few spots left. And then we're going to be in Mexico at the Yucatan, looking at these Mayan pyramids and ruins. That's going to be November 8th through the 17th, and that's 2024. All these itineraries are up now. All the registrations are up. All you got to do is go to earthagents.com/tours, and you can see the whole thing. Now, hey, I want to mention this too, and I typically don't do this, but I want you to be completely comfortable in your knowledge of these tours. If you need information, send me an email, send it to earthancients, the number 4, the letter U, @gmail.com, and say, hey, Cliff, I really want to go on this tour, but I got questions. Send me your email. I'll be happy to answer them for you and help you understand what the story is. So earthagents.com/tours. Our tours are extremely reasonable. They're about 50% less than average. And there's a lot of people out there doing tours. 12 days for some of these people is $10,000 US. Some of them are 12. Ours are 50% of that. 50% of those numbers I just gave you. Some of the shared rooms are a little bit less. 5-star tours at a reasonable rate. So check it out. earthagents.com/tours. Hey, if you're enjoying Earth Ancients, Destiny, or occasionally we post a Earth Ancients special edition in the archives, please consider becoming a subscriber to support us. It's really become expensive to put on these podcasts, and your support, your subscription of $5, $10, $15, even $20 a month makes a huge difference. To become a subscriber, go to patreon.com/Earth Ancients and subscribe. We have a bunch of gifts. I post probably a book a month, if not 2 a month. These are gifts from our guests. These are ebooks. You download them. We got a ton of really, really good books, and some of them are brand new. Occasionally I'll post a manuscript, first edited version of a book that comes out, which is kind of cool. Get a sense of what the author is thinking, and you can download that for your archives. But it really helps us. It keeps the lights on, and I really appreciate your consideration of a subscription with Earth Ancients by going to Patreon, that's patreon.com/Earth Ancients and become a subscriber. It really helps keep the lights on here at Earth Ancients. And our little sister, Destiny, you don't want her to go away. So consider a subscription. All right, that's it for today. I want to thank my guest today, Alexander Milovanov, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. His book just came out, by the way, The Music of the Divine Spheres. As always, the team of Gail Tor Mark Foster, and everyone who makes this thing happen. You guys rock. All right, take care, be well, and we will talk to you next time.